Okay, let me start.
Yes.
Okay, I have started it. So, welcome everyone. Then we'll be continuing with the session of learning about the vectors. And yeah, yesterday we had learned about the lambda vectors and lambda Faj vectors basically. And we'll just go through what do you mean by one M13 Faj vector. So this is different type of bacteriophage than compared to the lambda Faj. So it is 6,407 nucleotide in length, circular and consists of a single stranded DNA molecule and is used as a cloning vector because it is less than 10 kb in size. So very good because for you to insert this DNA after modifying, making it recombinant back into some bacteria, like letting it affect the infect the bacteria. If the DNA molecule is very small, then it will be easier task for you. So double-stranded replicative form of the genome acts like plasmid, and genes clone can be obtained in the form of single-stranded DNA, which is helpful in gene sequencing and in vitro mutagenesis. So it is easily prepared from the culture of infected E. coli cells. It is single-stranded circular genome of 6.4 kb kilobase pairs and infects only F plus bacteria. So what do you mean by this F plus bacteria? That means it can infect only those bacteria who already have plasmid in them, which is in mode of replication. Okay. So only those bacteria will be getting infected by this particular phage, M13 phage. It can clone pieces of DNA up to 6x the M13 genome size, that is 36 kb. But the larger the DNA, less stable the clone is. So that is how it is. So it can go up to the size of 36 kilobase pairs. Drawback is foreign DNA can be unstable. That could be a drawback of it. That whatever foreign DNA you're trying to insert inside this bacteriophages, that could be unstable, which can slow down the host growth, and so deletion of the several sequences can happen, right? So that is how the M13 phage vector looks like. So very M13 phage, the properties of M13 phage we just discussed. So these properties we'll be using for making a vector out of this, right? So since it has many plus points and we can use this M13 phage for making a vector of our choice, scientists went ahead and they made a M13 phage cloning vector. So M13 genome is 6.4 kilobase pair in length and consists of 10 closely packed genome for replication of the phage. So there is a single 507 nucleotide intergenic sequence, so IS, intergenic sequence, into which new DNA can be inserted. And this is what the intergenic sequence look like, where the new DNA will be inserted. And this region includes the origin of replication. Okay, that is origin. Useful for sequencing site-directed mutagenesis and any other techniques that require single-stranded DNA. So that is it. So what do you mean by mutagenesis is nothing but carrying out the mutation in particular gene, right? So when you basically try to do any research in vitro or in vivo, you can manipulate the gene or you can mutate a gene according to your own choice and then see like what all treatments I can perform or what all strategies I can apply for deleting this mutation. Yeah, if I perform this particular kind of a mutation, whether it is helpful for the person or it will be a bad thing for the person. So let me tell you this also, since we are discussing about mutation, means I'm talking about mutation, that there are some mutations which are good for human beings. There are some mutations which are bad for human beings. So they will be called as positive mutations, and one will be called as the negative mutations. And the positive ones are the ones which have helped the person or the individual in some or other way. In the sense, having an extra gene after a deletion of one particular kind of a gene can develop the extra muscle in a person. So this kind of a mutation they had observed in dogs, and they have observed in 1 to human beings also, and also then they perform this kind of a mutation on animals like ox or something, where they need muscular animals like horses, and they were successful in doing that. So that is a like positive kind of a mutation, and negative kind of a mutation which can lead to any kind of a genetic disease, which can lead to any kind of a deformity. So that would be called as a negative mutation, or the non-required mutation kind of. So for that purpose also you can use this M13 fast cloning vector. That is what they're trying to tell us. Then M13 structure, it looks like it's a filamentous, this particular virus is filamentous, and the one we had, the lambda-phage, was having head and tail. So this is the filamentous type, and another was with the head and tail. So that was the distinct structure, and this is also a distinct structure. So we will be using this filament to insert our DNA of interest in it, right? So this is how the M13 life cycle and overview has been given. So I'll keep this for learning on your own, because you guys will have to, this will take, this is kind of an extra information for you people to understand it in a more deep manner. Okay. So you can refer to it whenever you are going through the slides again. Okay. Then M13 vectors, M13MP1, the LAGZ gene was introduced in the intergenic section. What is intergenic sequence, right? So what did they do in this M13 vector? Now they inserted the LAGZ gene as well. So what is LAGZ gene? I told you guys yesterday that it has something to do with the beta galactosidase activity, and lac operon भी रहता है, lac Z gene भी रहता है. So it is something to be related with the beta galactosidase activity, converting of your sugar into the normal sugar or something like that. So they have inserted this particular gene also, and they have also made the clusters of restriction site in this, put the clusters of restriction site in this lac Z gene as same as that of we saw yesterday in the plasmid, right? In the plasmid vector also, they inserted the lag gene, and they did what? They inserted the clusters of restriction sites in that LAGZ gene itself. So your DNA of interest will be getting inserted at the place where the LAGZ gene is. So that could be one more confirmative test for you, that whether your DNA is been integrated with the plasmid DNA or not. That will be a one more confirmatory test for you. So the M13MP1, the LAGZ gene, was introduced in intergenic sequence, and it does not have any unique restriction site in the gene. So M13M2, this vector was, so they are talking about the types of this M13 vector. Okay, then we'll just go through the two types. We will not go to these things. Okay, so this one had no unique restriction site. So by inserting the LAGZ gene, you can put in some restriction sites along with the LAGZ gene, so that restriction enzymes can come and help you to integrate your DNA of interest into that particular vector. Then M13MP2, this vector was constructed by including the EcoR1 site in the LAGZ gene, and this was done by single nucleotide change, that is GGATTC, near the start of the LAGZ gene to GATTC by in vitro mutagenesis. So they conducted the in vitro mutagenesis for changing this nucleotide sequence, wherein they inserted one restriction site which will be recognized by EcoR1 restriction enzyme. The beta galactosidase enzyme remains functional in the vector. Beta galactosidase enzyme has to be, it has the role with the LAGZ gene. Okay, and then another M13MP7. So I'm not going to talk in detail, but they constructed a more advanced version of this particular vector, which can be much less tedious, and in which we can easily manipulate the DNA structure and integrate our DNA of interest. So these are the examples of M13 vectors, and that is how they see. That is how they have shown over here. So they also ended up inserting the polyleukocyte, and see, in the LAGZ gene they have put so many restriction enzymes can work as what, they have their recognition site in this LAGZ gene itself. So This is how they ended up constructing M13 vector, which is of major use. Okay, so these structures they have given, like how they went ahead and did the construction of these vectors. So, coming to the bacteriophage vectors, what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages? So, advantages, they are useful for cloning large DNA fragments, 10 to 23 kilobase pairs, and inherent size selection for the large inserts. So, you can do that. You can construct a recombinant DNA which has the very heavy molecular weight, right? Disadvantage is just less easy to handle, right? Because these are viruses, so you will need biosafety level 4 for this for in order to work with this particular virus. You cannot just do it in the lab how we perform our experiments under a normal biosafety level 1 would. So you'll need biosafety level 4 for this. Okay, excuse me. Uses of bacteriophages, lambda-phage cloning vector for gene cloning of large DNA fragments, eukaryotic gene, very important, because ultimately, even if you do lot many experiments in the bacteria, you have to do those experiments into the eukaryotic gene. Okay, then only it will become, you'll have some solid construct, yeah, solid proof with you that this one works, right? So excellent selection capability, stuffer stuff. I don't know what do you mean by stuffer stuff, but excellent selection capability in the sense the selection of the means that the integration of the DNA of interest into the virus is like maybe is at the higher level when you compare it with the plasmids. The clone lots of precisely sized DNA fragments for library construction. So this is much more precise compared to the plasmid ones. Okay, so maybe the success rate over here is higher than compared to the plasmid ones. Somebody's mic is on. I think Shraddha's mic is on and Dhanashree mic is also on. Okay, guys, please put it on mute. Okay, I did put the name. Yes, that is what is important, and that's the reason most of the time, most of the scientists or researchers, they end up using this bacteriophage vectors for their research purposes because they are very precise and you can easily insert many DNA fragments and make those library constructs for your further use. Then M13 based cloning vector, they are single stranded DNA sequencing and site directed mutagenesis. Those are the uses they have mentioned over here. Like what are what are the advantages and what are the uses of this M13 based cloning vectors. And these are for the lambda phage cloning vectors. So by far we have completed the plasmid and the phage vectors only. So further, जैसे people research करते गए, they started making hybrid vectors also. So hybrid vectors क्या रहेंगे? Plasmid and phages का combination. तो उसमें से सबसे पहला है plasmids या फिर phagmids, you can call it that. So plasmid F1 M13 hybrids. ठीक है? So phagmids or phagmids is a plasmid that contains an F1 origin of replication from F1 phage. Okay, and it can be used as a type of cloning vector in combination with the filamentous phage M13. Okay, and the phagmid can be replicated as a plasmid and also be packaged as a single-stranded DNA into viral particles. So that's a major advantage. You can use it as a plasmid vector also, and you can use it as a phage vector also. Then fragments contain an origin of replication for double-stranded replication as well as an F1 origin to enable the single-stranded replication. So that's a win-win situation, like double advantage, because
Hello, ma'am. We can't hear.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Now you are.
ma'am.
Maybe my head says this is wrong. Oh, that's really sad. I don't know from what point I did not. What from what point I have to explain you people. Did had I when did I did you guys understand what you mean by fragments, or I have to start with the fragments only?
Ma'am, you only read the title and then.
Okay, then I got muted. Okay. Okay. Again, we can talk about the fragments. Okay. So fragments or phasmids is a plasmid that contains a F1 origin of replication from an F1 phage. So basically, these fragments are the combination of plasmids and phage. Okay. So it will have the characteristics of plasmids also. It will have characteristics of phage also. So over here, this fragment they are talking about, they have plasmid and M13 phage. जो M13 phage हमने जो देखा अभी just पीछे M13 vector जिससे बनाते हैं उसका characteristic along with the plasmid characteristic. So it will have the origin of replication for double-stranded DNA, which is the characteristic of the plasmid, and it will have the origin of replication for single-stranded DNA as well, which is the characteristic of M13 phage. Okay, so many commonly used so phage contain an origin, that is what I just talked. It has the origin of replication for double strand also and for single strand also, which comes from the phage. Many commonly used fragment contain an F1 ori and those are fragments. Similarly to plasmids, a fragment can be used to clone DNA fragments and be introduced into bacterial hosts by a range of techniques such as transformation and electroporation. So you can use fragments also. Same is that of how you will be using plasmids with the method of either electroporation or transformation. So transformation is when you insert the recombinant DNA back into the bacteria. However, infection of bacterial host containing phagocytes with the helper phage. So, bacterial host containing phagocytes, they need kind of a helper phages also in order to have this DNA getting inserted and further getting replicated into the bacterial cells. So, I don't want to go in this detail of how exactly it will be infected, but infecting the bacteria. But the only thing that I want to make you guys understand over here is that phagocytes are the combinations of plasmids and the phages. Okay, so it can work as a plasmid also, it can work as a phages also. Okay, so depending on what kind of a DNA construct you want to make, you will be making use of that phagocyte as a plasmid or a phage itself to make the recombinant DNA, multiple copies of the recombinant DNA. Okay, so the helper phage infects the bacterial host by first attaching to the host cells, pilus, and then after attachment transporting the. So this particular line is explaining you about how the phage part of this particular phagocytes will be working by infecting the bacterial host. Okay, so inside the cell, the phage genome triggers production of single-stranded phagocyte DNA in the cytoplasm, and this phagocyte DNA is then packaged into the phage particles. So, how the virus will go under the lytic and lysogenic phase, that is what will happen later once this once this phagocyte is carrying our recombinant DNA into the bacteria, right? So, phagocytes are nothing but the combination of plasmid and the phages, and at a time they can act as plasmid also, and at a time they can act as a phages also. So, and that is what we will be using it as. So you see, rather than you if you are a researcher, then rather than you buying plasmid alag se and phage vector alag se, you can probably buy this phagocyte only. Okay, and you can use it according to your own will and wish, right? So you don't have to go for any specific. So you तुम्हें अगर वायरल ज्यादा amount of DNA clone करना है, that is bigger molecular size of DNA, then maybe you can use this phagocyte. If you want to use it for the smaller size of the DNA, then also you can this phagocytes. So there are multiple uses of this phagocytes. And the phagocyte particle containing single-stranded DNA are released from the bacterial host cells into their extracellular environment. Filamentous phages retard the bacterial growth, but contrasting with the lambda phage and T7 phage are not genetically lytic. So further, they have given more explanation about these phagocytes and how they will be acting, and how they will be inserting their how they will be multiplying inside the bacteria once we have inserted them back into the bacteria. So you can see over here they have origin of replication, then they have laxi gene, and they have multiple cloning sites which will be recognized by many restriction enzymes which will help you in making a recombinant DNA. And the only thing that you have to do is that insert this construct back into the bacteria where it will be allowing where it will be making more than one copies of that recombinant DNA. So in case of if the plasmid part is active, then it will be with the help of bacteria, means they will replicate individually because plasmids have that capacity of replicating themselves independent of the host DNA. But if there is a phage part that is replicating this particular recombinant DNA, then they will be going through the lytic, lysogenic phases, etc. So that is what the phagocytes are. So we don't have to learn in detail about this. So we'll learn shortly about the cosmids, the BACs and EACs also, as well in our next lecture. Okay, so this is it for today. We have less than 1 minute remaining. I will sign off for now. If there are any doubts, please ask me. You can ask me here, or you can message me or ask us on the Google Classroom as well.